A sister's warning. Kim Yo Jong lashes out at the US, South Korea and Japan, calling their drills a reckless show that will bring unfavourable consequences. As Pyongyang vows to expand its nuclear arsenal, Seoul and Washington push ahead with Freedom Edge and Iron Mace. On the sidelines, UN investigators reveal North Koreans executed for watching foreign films. Kim Yo Jong, the powerful sister of North Korea's leader, Kim Jong Un, has warned that joint military exercises of the US, South Korea and Japan could bring about negative consequences for them.
The reckless show of force being demonstrated by the US, Japan, and South Korea around the wrongly chosen place, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, will undoubtedly bring unfavorable consequences to themselves. We have already raised awareness about how dangerous the guidelines on nuclear deterrence and nuclear operations on the Korean Peninsula, fabricated by the US and South Korea, are. If the current leaders, after sufficiently considering the dangerous plans devised by previous administrations, sympathize with and implement them, we will understand this as an unfiltered display of an explicit anti-republic confrontational stance and a continuation of confrontational policies.
Notably, South Korea, Japan and the US will conduct annual defensive drills called the Freedom Edge, starting on September 15th to upgrade aerial, naval and cyber operational capabilities against North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement that the Freedom Edge exercise is an annual drill designed to implement regional peace and stability, adding that the drill will be conducted in compliance with international law. South Korean local media reported that Seoul and Washington also plan to stage the Iron Mace tabletop exercises next week on integrating their conventional and nuclear capabilities against North Korea's threats. Iron Mace will be the first such drills taking place under US President Donald Trump and newly elected South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, who have expressed willingness to resume dialogue with North Korea. Regarding Kim Yo Jong's statement on the same day, the South Korean Presidential Office said,
"The Freedom Edge exercise and Iron Mace drill are being conducted defensively and annually in response to North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. The government will continue its efforts to avoid confrontation and achieve the cessation of hostile acts and the restoration of mutual trust."
The exercise follows large-scale 10-day troop mobilization drills by the South Korean and US militaries last month to assess their defense readiness against North Korean threats, which Pyongyang criticized as proof of the Allies' hostile intent against it. The announcement comes after a dramatic appearance by the leaders of North Korea, Russia and China in Beijing this week at a major military parade that showcased China's military might in a show of solidarity against the West. Right before his sister's warning, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un said that the country will present a policy of jointly advancing nuclear arms and conventional military might during an upcoming key meeting of its ruling party. While inspecting weapons research centers on September 11th and 12th, Kim said,
"The 9th Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea would put forward the policy of simultaneously pushing forward the building of nuclear forces and conventional armed forces in the field of building up national defense."
Kim also emphasized the need to modernize the country's conventional armed forces without specifying the date of the party meeting. Earlier, in a speech on North Korea's founding anniversary, Kim said the country must more thoroughly prepare its nuclear capability and its readiness to use it properly at any given time in ensuring the security rights of the state. Kim further added that a strong military presence is needed to face the various threats posed by the United States and its followers, adding that North Korea is facing a grave threat from what it sees as a US-led nuclear-based military bloc in the region. South Korea's Deputy Defense Minister for Policy, Cho Chang-rai, and his US and Japanese counterparts on September 9th condemned Pyongyang's recent diversification of nuclear delivery systems, tests and launches of multiple ballistic missiles. In a bizarre development, the United Nations has found that the North Korean government is increasingly implementing the death penalty, including for people caught watching and sharing foreign films and TV dramas. The dictatorship, which remains largely cut off from the world, is also subjecting its people to more forced labour while further restricting their freedoms, the report added. The UN Human Rights Office found that over the past decade, the North Korean state had tightened control over all aspects of citizens' lives. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, said that if this situation continued, North Koreans will be subjected to more of the suffering, brutal repression and fear that they have endured for so long. The report, which is based on more than 300 interviews with people who escaped from North Korea in the past 10 years, found that the death penalty is being used more often. At least 6 new laws have been introduced since 2015 that allow for the penalty to be handed out. One crime which can now be punished by death is the watching and sharing of foreign media content, such as films and TV dramas, as Kim Jong Un works to successfully limit people's access to information. Escapees told UN researchers that from 2020 onwards, there had been more executions for distributing foreign content. They described how these executions are carried out by firing squads in public to instill fear in people and discourage them from breaking the law. Kang Gyuri, who escaped in 2023, told the BBC that 3 of her friends were executed after being caught with South Korean content. She was at the trial of a 23-year-old friend who was sentenced to death. Such experiences run counter to what the North Korean people had expected over the past decade. When the current leader Kim Jong Un came to power in 2011, the escapees who were interviewed said they had hoped their lives would improve. Kim had promised to grow the economy, while also protecting the country by further developing its nuclear weapons. But the report found that since Kim shunned diplomacy with the West and the US in 2019, instead focusing on his weapons program, people's living situations and human rights had degraded. Almost everyone interviewed said they did not have enough to eat, and having 3 meals a day was a luxury. During the COVID pandemic, many escapees said there had been a severe lack of food, and people across the country died of hunger. The UN report said that over the past 10 years, the government has exercised near total control over people, leaving them unable to make their own decisions, be they economic, social, or political. The report added that improvements in surveillance technology had helped make this possible,